The MTG podcast is a virtual space for women and men in the tech and creative industries.
Tune in as we put it all on the table, sharing authentic life truths as we sustain and empower each other in search of our tribe.
We're more than a designer. We're more than our name badge. We're more than the work we produce.
Welcome to the More Than Graphics podcast.
We're that tribe.
Sideways. Woo! We are live. Cicely is live too. She just turned. I did that on purpose. Welcome to the More Than Graphics podcast. I am Danielle, and Cicely will be right back. It is kind of this cool situation right now. We are live. We don't get to do this very often, by the way. I'm just going to put that out there in the world. We do a lot of batch recordings. Things are done way ahead of time so that we can kind of slow down later in the year. But this is the first time that we actually get to do like more live, like in the moment. It is currently March the 3rd, 2022 kind of moments. So I'm hyped about this because this whole topic for the month of March, as we talk about women's history, talk about every other thing that's important about March, we're talking about rest today. So I think it's so important as we step into these spaces that we're like giving ourselves out here. Speaking of rest herself, here she is, woo, woo, and all the glow. I just think it's so important as we talk about rest. What does that really look like? And to be really honest, we've had multiple conversations about rest, whether it's been rest for our bodies, rest emotionally, rest from people. I mean, there's a lot of things that we talk about in the scope and range of rest. So I'm really happy that we actually have someone on the show who not only makes us want to rest more because of the things that she does, but also makes us look like we're resting. Sometimes we're really not. I'm so grateful for that. So I just kind of want to like share a couple different things. One, as the podcast is growing, thank you to everyone who has really made the More Than Graphics podcast grow. I'm happy about just the idea, the impact that we've been able to create in 4 seasons, y'all. This is season 4 that we've been doing this podcast, myself and Cicely, and it's been crazy the amount of impact and resolve that we're getting from people, women we don't even know, that are coming up to us and literally saying like, hey, I heard about your podcast and this episode was awesome. And I really like this guest. And when's the next episode coming out? And I'm just like, what? You listen and you care about things that we say. It's kind of cool just to kind of be in that place of, we just want to be a platform and a safe place for women in tech and women creatives. And there's so many of us out there that don't have that tribe support. So I just want to be at that place for women online, whether that's sharing our life truths or sharing our quirkiness or sharing our extreme introvertness of being around other people. That's fine. This is the space to do all the things. So I'm really happy that we actually have a special guest here tonight, specifically is going to talk about some of these things. Really, we're just going to like, chat all the things about actually, let me back up. One of the main reasons I really wanted our guest, which I'm going to name her in just a minute because I'm waiting for Cicely to kind of jump in here. But one of my favorite things that I love to have about you on the show is that you resemble so many other women who look like us. And I think that's so important because a lot of times when we talk about women in tech and women creatives, we don't think in scope necessarily of color, but we need to start thinking in range of diversity. And there's so many women out there who are maybe afraid to step out into their own truth when it comes to being creative, or afraid to step out in their own truth when it comes to being a woman in tech. So I'm just glad that we have you here, Amani, because this is going to be the bee's knees for me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Okay. So I guess, Cicely, I can introduce Amani since we're kind of waiting a little bit. That's totally cool. Let me just get my voice together.
Get your voice together. My camera is never going to be together, so I just want to let you know I have switched to the computer, and the computer camera is a no-go because it's that iPhone. So we winging it. So Danielle, go ahead.
No worries at all. Okay. All right. So today's guest is Amani Ragland. Amani is a Kentucky native, Sagittarius, INFP and Enneagram 4. She is owner of Honeysage Photo Co, a photo team based in Lexington, Kentucky that specializes in intimate weddings and portraiture. Amani has been featured in Forbes, Travel and Leisure, and E! News, for crying out loud, for selected works that bring vibrancy and culture to Kentucky. Amani is a dog mom to Jasper and Koda, an avid traveler and partner to the most amazing person ever. If she wasn't a photographer, she'd be a writer, which was the plan before photography. She thoroughly enjoys sleeping, making lists, and attempting to keep her plants alive. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Welcome to the show, Amani. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's funny that we're talking about rest today because I've been like going today.
I so appreciate the fact that you took some extra time for us tonight, because this is so cool. The fact that we're actually all in very similar spaces right now. We're, as far as proximity, when we talk about guests on the show, this is pretty close. So this is really close to home. So for people who we could talk a little bit more if you're okay with talking about your day, like your day-to-day basis. What's that like? When you wake up, it's just run to the next wedding or run to the next thing. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so right now we're coming out of like slow season, which is like I say it's slow season, but it doesn't actually like slow down that much. So we're picking up to go into wedding season. So like today we've just been like getting packages delivered, like sending out mail, sending out welcome guides to our newest clients, like trying to get our workflow and stuff together, searching out new gear. It's never ending because we always just want to like be the best that we can for our peoples.
I love that. And I feel like too, a lot of people can resonate with that, because in Lexington area, in the Kentucky, state of Kentucky, it's really hard to kind of have that rhythm, right? Because a lot of people in events general areas, like vendors, photographers, things along those lines, there is a kind of slow season and then a rampant season, right? Just because of the nature of our state. So I think it's really cool that at least you recognize that, and you know that when it's time to chill, it's time to chill. Like, I need to like lay back.
I so value chill time. It's my favorite.
Awesome. Okay, so I guess we'll kick off with the first question, which would be, what are some things you specifically do for rest? And that could be at work or home.
So I do this weird thing. I love waking up at like 4 a.m. I don't have an alarm. My body's just like, all right, it's time to get up. But that's like my favorite time today to just kind of center myself. It's super quiet. Nobody's awake. Nobody needs me. So I like to like get up and like kind of do some like stretches and just kind of like just tune into like how peaceful it is.
I love that. I love that so much. And I feel like, one, I need to be in a place where like people don't need me. Okay. Like, let me just be real honest. In this moment right now while my baby's crying in the background.
Where is that place, Danielle? Show me.
Right. Like, it's no joke. Sometimes I really value that. And I love the fact too that you are constantly talking about ways that when you are in rest, it's kind of one like, I'm not accessible, I'm not available, do not bother me. Like, all there. I just teach me all your ways, because that's for real. I also want to kind of know, as far as rest at work or rest at home, is there something you do differently for each?
Definitely, I guess rest at work looks, I don't know. I guess I'm like, when I'm resting at work, I'm doing more of the like behind the scenes stuff. Like, I'm not as like actively engaged with people. Social media and stuff like that is super, super draining for me. So like, the further I can separate myself from like having to put everything on display and having to talk to people all the time, the like more well rested I am.
I love that. And honestly, you really let your photos do the talking. Honestly, you could post one photo and like, that's it. That was my statement for the week.
It's crazy. Like, it's the photos aren't the hard part. It's the captions. I could literally have like the perfect spread of photos and I will sit and stare at it for 45 minutes because I'm like, what do I say that hasn't been said already?
I feel you on that. Woo! Yes, I feel you. I'm actually really grateful that I actually have a team in place that I don't have to worry about that less. Not as much, but less. So I'm grateful for that. I think that's really important that you, at least you take the intention to want to say something of value. I feel like so many people dump, right? They just photo dump and put it in a reel, set it and forget it, and just kind of, let it go. And I think it's so important that you were actually being intentional about what you want to put out there. Is that really more a part of your branding as well? Just being more intentional about what you want to capture and the things that you want to for people to see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's easy to like throw everybody in the same poses for like pictures and stuff, but like what's really meaningful is like getting to know the people that we're working with and really being able to like bring out their personality and like who they are in their photos. So for example, I did an engagement session recently, and they met at the theater by the Bell House. I think that's what it is. So we went back there and they dressed in like their stage blacks, and like we went to the set and just like they showed me around, and they showed me like where they wrote their names together and put a little heart around it. And I was just like, we would have never did this if we had just like gone downtown to like a rooftop or something. Like it was just so special. And it's just like moments like that that like really make you like trying to be intentional about our work.
I love this level of intention. Like for real, that is, as a former techie, this is amaze balls for me. So I absolutely love the fact that you are really making an effort to connect the things that are important to them, and you just kind of wrap yourselves around that, which I think is does this not give you like this ease of rest, like deep down? Like for me, it's like, I don't know, some level of rest, but like soul pleasing, which also gives you more like internal rest in general. Like I feel that.
All that just like fuels the soul in such a good way. I'm just like, like I'm at peace. Like I'm so happy with this right now.
I love it. And I know for you, Cicely, like we can attest to that level of peace and rest that we feel because we've used Amani on more than one occasion for different projects. So I can tell you this level of professional spark magic / it looks like honestly, like times that I feel like I'm really busy, her photography portrays that I'm just sitting with butterflies and drinking pink lemonade like all day. And I just feel like that's a good connection. You need someone who can internally see you without showcasing all the things and pulling out all the drawers. And I feel like you just naturally have that feel, that gravitas with your brand. So that's really, really cool, unique experience.
Yes, and we always talk about you in the best way, I promise. But we only say good things. But we always I think I've worked with you 3 times now, maybe. It's been a lot. I mean, it's gonna be like 3, 4, 5 more, but that's okay. But like just the same theme has always been prevalent. So I think our very first photo shoot was way back when I first graduated nursing school. I was right about to graduate, which is crazy. And I'm like, you know what? She just puts me at ease. It's very peaceful working with you. It wasn't like awkward or weird, and just it's the same every time. So Amani's done my branding for my fertility birth education business. She did my graduation pictures for my first nursing degree, and she's done branding pictures for me and Danielle. Like it's just nuts. And I told her from that first photo, I was like, girl, I don't even have a husband at this point, but when I get married, you're gonna do like my maternity pictures, my baby pic. Like I've already told her this like years ago, so she already knows. But like I said, the great thing that Danielle mentioned too is that just it's you. It's like it's your aura. You have a very peaceful, serene aura, and I think it really just shows through your work. And we were talking about captions, like she ain't even got to put a caption. She can just mic drop the picture. I don't even need a caption. Half the time I don't even remember that you put captions there. So if that tells you anything,
come on. I'm not even staring at the words. I'm staring at the beauty.
I don't even care. I'm like, girl, I don't even know what you said. I don't even care. But this picture, like, just I can't. And I'll put like the heart eye emojis and hearts. I can't even get the words out to describe. How good it was. So this is, I mean, I'm always going to be a fan of your work. And whenever I get the chance to recommend you to people, I'm always doing it because I think you embody just Black excellence. And I love celebrating you and I love what you do. So I deviate a little bit, but that was my little, if I'm Jennifer Hudson, I'm throwing my shoe at you on The Voice. That's what we're doing right now. But I want to know speaking of rest, since I know that you are a busy young lady and you be putting in the work, how have you learned to work rest into your schedule? Like, how have you learned, I guess, if before you had trouble with rest and trouble kind of integrating that into your schedule, how have you learned to put it into your schedule? And what advice would you have for other people about rest, the importance of it, and making sure that you make time for it?
So the first time it really hit me that I was like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. Like, I need to slow down. I was like coming up, everybody was like, oh, Amani, like, let's do this, let's do this. And I was just like taking every single thing that I could. And I had just like stretched myself a million different ways and I was just exhausted. So after that, I like took a month off from just like everything. I was like, okay, I just need to like recenter. So the first thing that I did to honestly bring me more rest was raise my prices. That was like the immediate thing. I was like working less, but like still doing the work that really felt good. I was working with people who really valued me instead of somebody who was just like, oh, okay, I need somebody to do a thing. So that was the first thing. And then solidifying just like a good work schedule after like getting down the rhythm of wedding season and like figuring out like how much time I have in off season and stuff like that. I was really able to like find a schedule of like, oh, okay, I can chill out these days. And like these days I'll do admin or shoot days or stuff like that.
Man,
I love it. Yeah.
Sorry, me and Danielle both jumped and we're like, yes. That raising the prices, that is one of my favorite things. If I don't tell nobody to do nothing else, when people raise prices, I'm excited for them. It makes zero sense. But I be telling people, the more you raise your prices, you can be in term, like as appropriate. You can be intentional, just like you said, and it allows you to get the rest you need to kind of refuel your creative self and just recharge. So that's beautiful. I love that you said that.
Thank you. I feel like enough people definitely don't talk about it. And like, there's so many amazing photographers out there who just like are working for pennies and they're working themselves like to death. And it breaks my heart.
I'm right there with you. It absolutely is heartbreaking. I can definitely attest to so many talented people who do not sell their worth for what they are worth. And then some. Like there's so many times I relate to this so much because once I definitely have risen my prices a little bit more over the past like two years, Cicely. Cicely was one of the first people to really tell me, like, girl, no, I refuse to pay that low of an amount. Sure. You're gonna have to raise that up. Like, I'm gonna be that friend to tell you. And I was just like, okay, I need more friends like that. One, hold on to Cicely. Keep her in my back pocket. But at the same time, it was also a good awakening that, we can do more and we're worth more. Not the fact that we can do it, it's that we're worth more. It's the connection of the two that I feel like we kind of miss out on sometimes in the earlier stages of business and life. But I want to know more about this fruitful rest that you kind of take when you're like, I know you do this, like in between shoots or decompressing between workshops. There's got to be some things that you personally kind of aspire to do better or do more for yourself in terms of rest.
Mm-hmm. So I definitely, the first thing, since I wake up so early, I'm just like mad exhausted during the day. After like 4 o'clock, I like hit a wall. So I'll like just straight take a nap in the middle of the day. That's like my favorite thing. I'll like turn off my phone and I'm just like, okay, nobody talk to me for like an hour and a half.
This is my new example. I'm just letting everybody know.
Yeah, my mom was always like, oh, when your kids, like, nobody liked to take a nap. And I was like, I just wish that, like, I knew the power of, like, a good nap. So I took advantage of it as an adult.
We gotta have it, like, especially when we're like on 100 all the time. You know what I mean? Like for a lot of us creatives, we are on that woo, and we just don't think about what happens after the woo. That we need to like, recalibrate ourselves. We put all that energy out there, and then we kind of like, oh yeah, I gotta eat, I gotta sleep,
that part.
Shower. I totally relate to this on this intentional level of rest. I totally get it. And then I kind of wanted to follow up with you a little bit more on like kind of going back to this whole storytelling that you do specifically visually through the lens, because I feel like that's my favorite statement about Honeysage Photo is that you tell stories and you tell them vividly through this lens. And I think it's really funny how you are able to not funny, haha. I mean, funny, like peculiar. I think it's really cool that you're able to capture people in the going and the coming, but also in this presence of being still. And so a lot of your portraits are really, these beautiful imageries of people when they're still. And I'm sure a lot of times they're not really still in real life. I can attest to that. So I think it's amazing how you can take one image and really wrap around a narrative of going and stopping and going again. And I think that is one of the many gifts that you have, and wanting to really share that with other people. But I'm curious in that sharing, like, I'm sure you have some moments where rest has really done you some good, in levels of life. I didn't know if you were able to share like a small story or a long story in regards to areas of life where rest was vital to you moving up and leveling up in life.
Oh, definitely. So one thing that I used to do, I guess, that really hindered me is like I'd edit really, really late at night. And like you said, we're just like on 10 all the time, just like going. So back before I had like rebranded and stuff like that, I'd be editing really late at night and I'd wake up in the morning and everything was a disaster because I had just like worn myself out and I had been staring at the screen for hours and hours. And like my color would be off. He would be like orange as heck. And I'm just like, I can't turn this off in. And I would have to like go back and re-edit everything.
That's definitely happened on more than one occasion on my end, so I can kind of relate to that. I can really relate to that. So mama has a turn off time when she's not designing and time that she is speaking. So after hours late for me are best for speaking, but not good for designing. So this one has to step back and say, okay, Jesus, take the wheel, because I can't do it after that point. I love boundaries. That's really what that is. I really love the fact that you mentioned that in your story, because we all need them. I mean, whether we're women in tech or women creatives, everybody needs boundaries. And so that's one way, a great way to define rest, in my opinion, is to kind of say, nope, that's okay. That's my cutoff time.
Mm-hmm.
See it or leave it. It's okay. I love that. Okay, Cicely, I know for you, we talk about this one all the time. Mm-hmm. With what did you want to be growing up, and how does that relate to what you're doing now?
Okay. Is that for me or Amani? I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh no, I was saying the question, but it was for Amani, but I was saying it in reference to the fact that we asked.
Okay, I was making sure. I was like, wait a minute.
So when I was like little, I wanted to be a vet, loved animals. I was like, this is my jam. And then I don't like needles, so I was like, nah. So I guess I've always liked to like read and write. And in middle school, I started writing really, really heavily. I was like writing books with my friends, and like in class, I'd like always be spacing off and like writing stories. So I had joined like creative writing classes in high school and stuff like that. So I really wanted to be a writer or work as an editor or something like that. So I was like gung-ho about that, went to colleges, looked at creative writing programs, that kind of thing. And then I took a photography class to fill up my senior schedule, and it just completely changed everything.
That's so cool. That sounds like us, though. I mean, like, I think we've always done like, right? We've always done some sort of pivot.
I was going to say the same thing. Like, what is it with girls that start off as writers and end up as something else? What is this thing? But it's not like, the beautiful thing about it, in all three of our like career life trajectory, we are not exactly writing in the traditional sense, but we are still weaving writing and creativity in some way in everything that we do. So that's kind of like the really cool thing. We all three have taken it literally in completely different directions. And like, we still have that love for reading. We still have that love for writing. And that's kind of at the core of everything we do. And like, clearly you're telling stories with photography. And like, I know with Danielle, she's telling stories every day. So literally telling stories. And then she's also like showcasing stories through the designs that she has. So I think that's pretty awesome as well. But you both mentioned something about rest, and it made me laugh because Amani, when we first met, like our very first photo shoot, I remember you were like working. I think you were a nanny at the time, right?
Yeah.
And then I remember Danielle like was always like stretched thin all the time. This is before she hired people. So it's like, to me, it's a testament to rest, because like I was looking at her like, I don't know if I ever want to have my own business or not, because these people be stressed out all the time. And now like I realize it is a blessing and a curse, but if you are mindful with your time and you kind of find the flow that works for you, like you said, you're not going to be editing at night anymore, because you know that's like, you're done, your fuel has run out for the day. For Danielle, she knows what she can and cannot do at certain hours. So I think that's super important. So when you mentioned the boundaries, I love that you both said that. Like you both mentioned things that you now know, I've tried to do this and it ain't gonna work no more. So I love that. My question for you is, so I guess as a photographer, as a creative in general, what encouragement would you offer to our listeners who need rest, but they're kind of not sure where to start or how to even begin? Because like we talked about, when you all were kind of in the thick of it and doing a whole bunch of things at one time, it's very hard to find that balance. So what advice would you have for those people?
I don't know how conducive this is to everybody's business, but just stop, just like take 5 minutes, but preferably take like a couple of hours, like go sit down, go turn your phone off, just stop. It's crazy how much like clearer you are after you can just like sit down for a minute after you disconnected. And it's really easy to like, after you've gotten some in your system, you're like, oh, okay, I need some more of this. So you can start being more intentional about how to place rest in your schedule.
Amen. Danielle, I know 100%. I see her nodding. But I think it's very applicable. Like you said, it's hard for, in the traditional sense, to be able to maybe take the 2 hours. But if you can start with 5 minutes, move up to 15, but just taking that time, being intentional about knowing you need to rest. Because rest does the body good. Like, just like, people, I joke all the time with people like, oh, carbs are bad. I'm like, honey, carbs feed the brain. So rest feeds the brain too. And our brain is the powerhouse. We need our brain to get through. So I love that you said that. I think it's great advice.
I love that. Okay. I'll let Cicely continue asking questions. Is it okay if we showcase your Instagram while we're sitting here? So people need to have a visual aspect of that. Okay. I'm for it.
Yay. I was going to say, so like we've been talking you up about all the pictures and people are going to be like, well, what are they even talking about?
Right.
That's awesome. So let's just see. Ooh, she's getting in there. Look at her. But these are beautiful. I actually was just on your website, I think 2 days ago, and I was like, look at all her new work. It's so beautiful. I love it.
I'm so excited because I've really been like, during the slow season, I'm mad about like setting stuff up. So I'm really excited to like get back into like being busy and having all these like people I get to meet and stuff like that. It's been a lot of fun.
I love that. I love it. I love it. So let's see. Is there a story from your life that resonates most with you when we talk about rest or surrounding the theme of rest?
A story from I'm not sure. I might have to think on that one for a second.
No, you're all right. It's kind of a deep question. We'd be deep diving sometimes. You're fine.
I feel like my whole life I could have used more rest like everywhere.
I love it. Oh, and do you have a bedtime? That's something. Do you have a bedtime?
All my friends joke that I don't go out like past 8 o'clock. So like I'd like to be laying down and asleep by like 9:30. But whatever happens.
You're a girl after my own heart. I love that. Like literally, I told somebody the other day, I said 9:30 would be like my ideal bedtime, and I would sleep till like 7. That would be my perfect sleep range. Like that would be, I would wake up and be a whole new woman if I had that much sleep.
Well, then you'd be a little closer to me because that's about right. That's definitely on my end. I feel like that's exactly where I'm at. I'm usually like 9:30 is a cap off for whatever I'm doing. I'm done for the day. That means by 9:36, I'm watching House MD for like the next 2 hours. And then I go and then I do it all over again starting tomorrow. It's a hey. I totally relate to these areas of rest and this pattern of stop and go. And I think that's really the heart of rest, is knowing when to slow down and then knowing when to speed back up. It's not just the sitting part that's really a part of rest. Rest, I'm going to get real deep, Cicely, here. Rest, I think, is a verb. I think it can be used in that way where we're talking about the action of something, whether it's the action of slowing it down or the action of speeding it back up. Rest is kind of interpreted in that kind of ebb and flow of slowing down and picking back up again. So I just really love the fact that your brand overall just really encompasses that and showcases that in so many different ways, whether you're celebrating life, celebrating a loved one, or celebrating yourself. I feel like there's so many different ways that you really embody this area of rest, and how each of us can really be taking your medicine from that and learning that we can also create better realms of rest for ourselves. I just want to make sure you knew that on this screen, because I'll be telling it to you in person too, but just in case, there's social proof.
Yeah, she's like, it's embedded forever. It's out there in the atmosphere.
In the atmosphere. It's in the world.
But I love that. And, setting a bedtime, like Amani said, and just kind of setting a time and a boundary when you're going to stop things, that's definitely a part of the rest. That's part of rest being an action. And me, I'm all about the action. I'm all about about the doing, about the actively being involved in something. So I love to actively rest, like, actively having a bedtime, actively making sure that my butt gets 8-9 hours of sleep. That is very intentional and very active on my part.
We talked a little bit about this on Clubhouse too. Amani, you're more than welcome to join us this month on Clubhouse. We have weekly conversations every Tuesdays at 7:30, and we just literally talk about this theme of whatever the monthly theme is, and then we kind of break it down to these mini conversations. And they're usually about 30-45 minutes max. But I love the idea of us just continuing to echo a lot of things that are being said in this particular podcast. So I know for sure we'll be talking about bedtime regimens on the next one, because that seemed like that's a deeper conversation, because I love the fact that we all kind of understand that sometimes we just need to cut it off early so that we can kind of heal ourselves in the areas overnight, right? We talk about so many beauty secrets out there. They say, overnight, the more you sleep, the more your body is able to heal. I totally relate to that. So I intentionally take that time to set a boundary and say, let my body heal between these hours so that I can be more of a top performer, a better alert person during these other sets of hours. So I relate to that on so many levels. But I really love the fact that you talk about strict boundaries for yourself. Is there a particular, I know we're going to get into this a little bit later, but is there a particular food that you kind of like are like your tone down, your chill out food for like the evening or the weekend?
Ooh, food. I'm a huge foodie, so
this is why I wanted to ask that question.
Definitely tacos. There's like a taco truck on North Lime that we have here all the time. They're open late. They have like great spicy sauce. It's like
all right.
That's like we're gonna like binge some TV and chill out.
I love that. Okay, so that is kind of like my go-to as well. I will be not necessarily on tacos, but I will definitely binge on some peanuts and some L81. So that's something that I kind of do all the time. Cicely, how about you? I know you have a binge food. Don't act like you don't, because I know you do.
It's the tacos for me, but I mean, I can't binge on tacos because unfortunately, like the tacos stick to places they don't need to stick to. But if I was gonna pick a treat, it would actually be, it's crazy, vanilla Dunkaroos would be my go-to treat. Like if I was like, you know what, I've had a long day, I just want to chill out a little bit. I recently got back onto some vanilla Dunkaroos, and I've been on the kick lately. And you can buy them individually, so you don't have to buy them in the big old box no more. So I buy like a couple at a time, and it's like my little savory sweet treats. And Liam don't get none, and nobody else gets any. It's just for me. So the vanilla Dunkaroos, they're making their way back into my life.
I love that. Okay, good to know. So if I go get you some Dunkaroos for later, maybe
I
we
might
can
cry if you give me Dunkaroos. Like that's all anybody has to do for me anymore. If you want to make me happy, just give me some vanilla Dunkaroos.
I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna hold you to it.
It's the throwback. Like I don't even know. I think like they went out of like not out of style, but I think they stopped making them for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I was in college, and so I was like 18, 19. And my friend found some, like we found them at like Target, and we're like, oh my gosh, like what happened? And then we found them on Amazon, and then we couldn't find them for like a good 5 or 6 years. So when I saw them at Kroger the other day, I'm like tears of nostalgia. And Ryan was like, my husband, he was like, are those Dunkaroos? I'm like, they sure are. I'm so happy. So that's self-care. When you find treats and snacks that you love and it's just for you, and you have like your own little, you hide them in the cabinet so nobody knows where they are. That is a form of self-love and self-care.
That's me and chocolate covered peanuts and LA one. That's me. Like
Danielle in LA, she loves her LA one.
Hold on to my soft water. Gotta have it. It's the only soda I can have, really. So I absolutely love this conversation, No Unrest. I think this has been so helpful for people out there who kind of struggle with finding rest for themselves, struggle with maybe some boundaries they could make for themselves. I hope this has been a very empowering conversation for other people out there to start making those changes for 2022. It's never too late per se, but come on, it's the end of the first quarter. Come on, we can do it. We can do it. So I just feel like for a lot of women out there, especially young millennial women, we kind of feel like we need to be on this like converter belt of the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And it really doesn't have to be at all. It really can be a rhythm of stop and go, slow down and go, speed up again and go. So I hope that people are really getting that message from hearing Amani tonight. And also for people who don't use or don't have a photographer, like I ain't pointing no elbows, but I mean, this would be great if you wanted to actually go and follow her on Instagram and like blow that up real quick and then schedule a consultation or hang out with her for a little while, buy her coffee, anything along those lines would work. I think that would be so cool so that more people get to experience you more so than just the photography, but you as a person, because I feel like that really needs to go out into the world is all this great energy that you have always that comes through your work. So this is the reason why we keep booking you. This is the reason why we'll keep booking you. This is the reason why we'll just keep going.
I second this fully. I second it. It's an experience. It's an experience to work with Amani. So we have been privileged to work with her multiple times, and we're trying to get everybody else. But like, don't too many of y'all do it because we still need her to be available.
Yeah.
Her. But like, if she gets too booked and busy, then she's gonna be celebrity status, and
I mean, that's a great question. That's gonna lead me into my last question for you. What was that experience like doing photographing the Harmon Room? With 21C, like what was that like? What was that experience to be featured in Forbes? Wake up and be like, I'm in Forbes one day.
It's so weird because like when they invited me to do the project, I was like, oh cool, like a hotel room. Like I didn't expect it to like be as big as it was, but everybody was like, yeah, they're doing this huge press release, it's gonna be big, and I was like, yeah, okay. Like I was on Instagram.
Oh, girl, that blew.
Tagging me, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, I mean, I was lit. I was like, I was on cloud 9 for you that day when I was seeing all the people that were sharing, and then you were sharing their shares on top of that. So it was just like Forbes after Forbes after Forbes. I was like travel and leisure. Then I'm seeing all the other ones pop up too. And I'm like, holy cow! Like, I hope someone is for real paying. One, I hope she got so much money out of this. And then two, milk that for all it's worth, because that was awesome. I'm a huge fan of the show. And so when that came out and released, I was just like, my two favorite things combined in one spot. Brain overload. Like,
they did such a good job on the room. It was so cool.
Yeah, definitely a fan. I'm gonna have to like try to book it just so I can do photography in it. Look at that. I didn't even think about that. I know it's bad.
I love how humble she is. So humble.
I'm gonna figure it out. It may not be this time, but it'll be next time. I definitely love the fact that you are getting a lot of shine for the work that you're doing. And I hope that whether it's a wedding, again, lifestyle portraits, lifestyle piece, newborns. I just went through and saw some of your newborn portraits and I was like, I can't do it for Theo, but I mean, it's so gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's beautiful work.
I didn't get to advertise like my family stuff as much because like I feel like it's really overwhelming to have like every single genre you do on your Instagram. And I do a boudoir, so I was like butts and babies. Like that's not a cool mix.
You had to pick, right?
But I love little babies and little squishy happy families. Like this makes my heart so warm.
I love it in comparison to the squishy butts. So I mean, it's the same thing. So I mean, we're almost there. We're almost there.
That's your new subgenre, butts and babies.
I know, right? I love it. That's it.
You can do like
highlight
newborn boudoir. Yeah. So like the mom with the newborn baby, but boudoir. that's gonna be the new subgenre.
Y'all heard it first, okay? It's started right here, and don't forget credit. I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap this up with really quick flash questionnaires. If you haven't listened before, we do flash questionnaires at the end of every episode. We ask you a phrase and you instantly give us the first thing that comes to your brain, which could be somewhat scary or not. So I'll let Cicely do all that.
We keep it low key, I promise. Nothing scary. And just whatever you want to say, the first thing, no matter how crazy, weird, whatever, we welcome it. All right. So are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. Something new that you've learned in the past year.
Oh gosh. There's this lighting technique that I learned. So I've been doing like a lot of studio lighting and there's just like a bunch of lights involved and it's really cool. So yeah.
That's awesome. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to find out.
Yes.
I like it. Your favorite vacation and getaway spot?
Manzanita, Oregon.
Wow, very specific.
Yeah.
I love that. Sweet snacks or savory snacks?
Sweet snacks.
Always, right? Harry Potter or Star Wars? Uh-oh, did you freeze? Because I froze.
I think so.
Okay, did you hear me with the options?
What, the sweet or the savory snacks?
Yes, I heard you with that one. Harry Potter or Star Wars?
Harry Potter.
Okay, I knew that. I figured. I was like 90% sure you're gonna lean that way. That's good. Digital books or physical books?
Physical books.
I think. What are we like? Literally, out of all the episodes, we've had all but one person, maybe
Really?
2 people. Maybe 2 people said digital books, but we are living in a physical book world here.
I was number 2. It was okay.
Oh yeah, it was you. It was you. I didn't even remember. I was like, who was it? Terrible. I'm not gonna give her a hard time. We're gonna leave her alone. And if you could go back in time, where would you go and whom would you see?
Ooh. Oh man. Okay. The first thing that comes to my brain. I'd love to meet Frida Kahlo. And it's not for like any particular reason. She's amazing and all that good stuff. But like I live close to downtown. There's that new Mexican restaurant and they have all those portraits of her painted on the wall. And I've just been like thinking about her a lot.
I love that. Frida's on your mind. I love it. Go ahead, Frida. I love it.
Oh man, I love that. And shout out to all the murals downtown Lexington General. We're just like a jungle out there right now. So I love that you can walk 3 or 4 blocks and always bump into a space that you can totally get all your headshots and do some fun stuff out there with photography just to play around. That's one of my favorite things. I haven't done it yet, but I'm just saying it's one of my favorite things.
Look, I was about to say I haven't either, but I'm gonna jump on that bandwagon. It's my favorite thing now too.
They have a tour, like they actually do like a tour when it warms up, a walking tour that you can actually do. I thought about doing it in the spring just to do it for fun. Maybe ask a couple other Kentucky creatives to kind of hang out and do this walking tour. But
fun.
It's pretty cool. Like I definitely am attracted to the idea of doing something new. But yeah, shout out to Frida because Frida. Frida hold it down. We love it. Awesome. Okay, Amani, for everyone else who wasn't able to see our screen of all your beautiful work, how can they find and reach you?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Honeysage Photo Co. My website, www.amaninichae.com, spelled AMANINICHAE.com. And then you can also email me at honeysagephotoco@gmail.com.
All right. Everybody, this has been great. Cicely, how you feeling about this?
Well, you know how I feel. I love Amani, so anything that she's involved with, like, it's always going to be good to me. So that's all I got. And thank you so much for lending your time. We've been trying to get you, or wanting to get you on the podcast for like, what, 2 seasons now?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad we finally were able to make it happen. And I'm just so glad to continue to work with you and to have you be a part of our lives.
Thank you for having me here, and I'm so excited to work with y'all soon.
Yeah.
Yes. I am so excited. Amani, you make everything like peaceful. I think that's the greatest gift that you can give me. From beyond the photography is that you just give me peace that everything's gonna look fabulous, work fabulously. These are pictures that I still use from years ago that are still being used now. I love it
that you still use them, and I love them too. They were so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely love it. All the arcade pictures are the best. I'm definitely gonna have to replicate that in some way. But I definitely want people to get behind you, get behind your brand, support you in whatever way that they can. Because we need more of that good energy to emulate in the world. We need more ripples of that in the world. So keep on storytelling and keep on sharing a lot more rest through your storytelling. I think that's so important. All right. Thanks everybody for listening to the More Than Graphics podcast. Please continue to subscribe and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Send us your feedback on Facebook or Twitter, or how our life stories on our virtual spaces are helping you navigate life, empower you, or encourage you. And of course, be sure to check out the morethangraphicspodcast.com and subscribe to our emails for exclusive behind the scene moments. This has been a wrap. I love this. Thank you, Amani, for making this so special tonight. Thank you.
So much.
All right. We'll catch you next time, everybody.
Bye.